Welcome to Missouri Sports Talk. I'm your host, Cameron Staley. Today we've got small school predictions, potentially the last one we have for basketball. I'm not completely certain when the district brackets come out. We're 13. If today's the 11th, right? Yeah, we are 13 days away from Missouri high school basketball playoffs. So I think they release the districts a week before the season actually ends. So if that's the case, then it would be out on the 17th. That would be in 6 days, which means I would have it in time to do a district championship predictions video where we go over all 16 districts rather than just sitting here and talking about 18 games. So we'll see what happens there. This past week, probably the worst predictions I've had so far. I went 11-7. Whoopsies. It was 4-2 in Class 1. 4-2 in Class 2, and 3-3 in Class 3. Ended up not being that great, but I'm not too worried about it. We're gonna go on. Life goes on, right? So let's go ahead and look at the Class 1 scoreboard from this past week. Halfway really put it on Wheatland, 69-38. Man, that is not close whatsoever. Halfway is now 17-3 on the season. Brunswick, they only allow 27 points from the Higbee Tigers. Higbee's 17-4, so they're no slouch, and they could only put up 27 against the best defense that I've gotten to see this season. They are now 21-1, the Brunswick Wildcats are. Prairie Home beats Russellville 83-72. Good game for Prairie Home. Richland Essex loses at home 71-61 against Risco. I like how Risco's playing. They play with a really fast pace. They're now 20-2 this season. Hartville beats Chadwick, the alleged number one in Class 1. I don't really believe Chadwick's number one in Class 1. I think it's I've been with Green City, but I'm starting to fade a little bit. I'm starting to like Brunswick, and when I do my state predictions after the districts roll through, my pick may change to Brunswick. So maybe my pick is changing right now as I speak. I'm not certain. I really like Green City. I also really like Brunswick a lot. But, Chadwick, they are put at number one in the polls by the coaches. I think there's like 10 coaches that vote each week or something like that, 9 or 10. I don't really think that Chadwick's number one. Are they top three? Yeah, I think they're number three. But here they are put at number one. I don't agree with that. Hartville had a really good win against them. 61-47 is the final. Faith Christian beats Kingsville 63-58. This is a really good win for Faith Christian. They are now 16-4 on the season. Class 2 scoreboard from this past week. Blair Oaks, they win by 2 points against Glasgow. I think that should have been a little more of a gap. I don't know, Blair Oaks really played their best game there. 42 points, not too beautiful, but nonetheless, they get the job done. They're 14-5, picked up 3 good wins this week. Norwood, they were put at number 1 in Class 2, even off of a win like this, 89-27 against Fordland. I think they dropped one game and won another one this week. They dropped from 1 all the way down to 4. I'm not certain why. I think I've never really been a Norwood at number 1 guy anyways. I just don't understand why they're dropping right now necessarily. I think Eugene got put up at number 1. I think Puxico's the one still. I like Eugene a lot. We'll talk about them in a second. Van Far, they lose at home to Montgomery County 70-44. Montgomery County is 21-1 on the season. Rich Hill beats Lockwood 67-51. Rich Hill now 17-4 on the season. Eugene defeats JC at home 72-54. This is a massive win for the Eagles. Anytime I really talk about them, I'm kind of picking against them. It's not because I don't like them. I think there's just, better teams out there, but they keep proving me wrong. And I'm really excited for Eugene. I do think that they have a Final Four run in them, 100%. And this is a great win to prove that. Blue Eye defeats Purdy 57-45. Solid win for Blue Eye. They are now 15-8 on the season, if I read that correctly. Yes. All right, Class 3 scoreboard from this past week. Stratford wins the rivalry game on the road 57-55 over Fairgrove. Stratford now 16-4 on the season. Valley Catholic defeats Park Hill Central 52-39. Valley Catholic is 12-10 this year. Bishop LeBlond, they are now up to 20-1. They beat Savannah, who is on a pretty bad losing streak, 59-41. Bowling Green gets it done on the road 59-56 against Monroe City. I think both these teams are really good. I thought Monroe City was going to win this game. I was proven wrong. Bowling Green now 16-3 this season. Dixon beats Licking 64-40. I don't necessarily know if I really expected this. I know Dixon's a really good team. They're receiving votes in Class 3. I did take Licking, though, on the road. I didn't really think it was an upset, but I mean, Dixon proved me wrong. They win by 24 points. I feel like Licking, just when they're playing the really good teams, they're losing pretty badly. I think you guys have noticed that if you've been paying attention and watching the videos. Anytime I pick Licking, they go out there and lose by like 20 points. So I don't really know what to think about the Wildcats this year. I'm just not too certain right now. South Shelby, they lose at home to Palmyra 53-44. Palmyra right now isn't receiving any votes in Class 3. I don't really understand that completely. I think they're a pretty solid basketball team. I don't necessarily know if they're a top 10 team in Class 3, but not even receiving votes at all by the coaches feels just a slight bit disrespectful. Like, I feel like they're at least in the top 15, which would mean that they'd be receiving votes, but they're just not. They're not there. And they only have 4 losses. So I don't get that at all. So let's go ahead with this week's predictions. Class 1 scoreboard is on your screen right now. So 3 of these games happen tonight. Drexel, Prairie Home, and Richland are all hosting. On Thursday, Faith Christian will be hosting Concordia. Saturday, Sacred Heart versus Halfway, and Hardin Central versus Brunswick on Monday. So Drexel versus Rich Hill. 15-7 Drexel hosting, 17-4 Rich Hill. I like Rich Hill this season. They're scoring 60 points per game, and they're only allowing 43.8. They're 14-9 since 2009 against the Drexel Bobcats, so give me the Tigers on the road. Prairie Home is hosting St. Elizabeth. I believe St. Elizabeth is 10th in Class 1, and Prairie Home is receiving votes. I'm on the Panthers with this one. They're scoring 71.3 points per game and allowing 58.6. I think they get it done at home. Richland Essex versus South Pemiscot. South Pemiscot is kind of on a losing streak, so I will ride with Richland here. They're receiving votes in Class 1. I think they're the first team out. They're scoring 61.4 points per game, allowing 49.1. Give me the Rebels. Faith Christian versus Concordia. Concordia is kind of middle of the pack. They're 9-8, and I think Faith Christian is playing a really good season this year. They're 16-4 right now. They're receiving votes in Class 1. I think, arguably they can show that they're actually a top 10 team once we get into the playoffs. We'll see. I guess I'm not 100% certain. I can't tell the future, but I do think that Faith Christian is a really solid basketball team. Should make it out of their district. We'll see. They're scoring 67.7 points per game. I mean, there's a scoring at a high volume. They are allowing 52.2, so I will take the Knights here at home. Our Class 1 game of the week is Sacred Heart versus Halfway. Sacred Heart is ranked 6th in Class 1, Halfway sitting at 7th. I will take the road team here, the Halfway Cardinals. 17-3 this year. As I said, they are 7th in Class 1. They are scoring 64.6 points per game, and they're only allowing 42.7. That sits right with me. So I will take the Halfway Cardinals in a really big game on Saturday. Hardin Central versus Brunswick. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Brunswick is the best defense I've gotten to see in person this whole entire season. I was riding with Green City just about all year for Class 1. Brunswick is making that fade a little bit. I think I might change my pick. I think Brunswick may be my favorites for Class 1 now. They're 21-1. They're scoring really well. 71.6 points per game. That's insane paired with a defense like this. I mean, they just clog all the passing lanes. They're getting fast break layups, scoring at a high volume, playing crazy defense, only allowing 37.1 per game. I think Hardin Central may be in some trouble in this game, so Give me Brunswick on the road. The Class 2 scoreboard now. So, Glasgow, Hartville, and New Franklin, all these 3 games are tonight. Bernie hosts Campbell on Thursday. Putnam County is on Thursday as well. And then Canton versus Kirksville on Monday. So, we'll start with Glasgow and Pilot Grove, obviously. I think Glasgow wins this game. I think they're better than a 13-7 team. Like, I don't really know how they've lost 7 games. I think they've had some like rough patches, some bad matchups or whatnot. But when these 2 teams played against each other at the Slater Wildcat Invitational, it was almost like it almost felt so bad I couldn't upload it. I've had one game ever that I've had that. It was Tipton versus Bell. You guys never saw that because I didn't get around to editing it because it was just so bad. Glasgow and Pilot Grove didn't feel that bad, but they were playing at a high, both of them playing at a high pace that they couldn't even keep up with themselves. Like, it was throw out of bounds, throw out of bounds, throw out of bounds. It's like, slow the game down, guys, and play some basketball. And they did that. They did that in the second half, and it ended up being good. And that's honestly what saved the video, if we're going to be honest. And both teams started playing good in the second half when they started to slow it down and noticed that this high-pace transition game that they were trying to play was not working for either team. And like I said, it ended up being a pretty good game. Glasgow controlled the game. I think they'll do it again. 59.7 points per game. They're allowing 48.8. They're 26-5 against Pilot Grove since 2009. So give me the Yellow Jackets. Hartville versus Sparta. This is the first time I've gotten to talk about Sparta this year. They haven't really impressed me. I liked how they played last year. I took them as my district champs, and then they did not make it out of districts. Hartville, I feel like anytime I talk about them, I'm just like talking bad about them, which I feel bad about because they're literally third in Class 2. But I'm just, I'm not a fan of the hold the ball style. I will take them in this one, though. We'll flip the script here. Give me the Hartville Eagles. They are scoring 53.1 points per game, and they're allowing 38.6. I think that they can get it done against the Sparta Trojans. New Franklin versus Slater is my game tonight, so I'll try to get this up around 5:30. Right now it is 4:34 for me as I speak. May end up being 6 o'clock when this gets out, but New Franklin versus Slater is at 7:30. This is my Class 2 game of the week. I'm really excited for this one. Slater won the first game. I believe it was 51-47, if I'm not wrong. And this is part 2 of 3 because they're in the same conference, but they're on a crash course for the district championship as well. So I think Slater wins part 2. I honestly think Slater goes 3-0 against New Franklin this year. Slater scoring 65.5 points per game, allowing 53.7. They are 8-21 against New Franklin since 2009, but I think it's a different season. Bernie versus Campbell. Haven't gotten to talk about Bernie so far this year. My first time I'm talking about him, though. I'm taking them losing. I think Campbell's a really good basketball team this year. They're 17-4. They're 7th in Class 2 currently. They're scoring 66.3 points per game and allowing 56.1. Putnam County versus Schuyler County. It should be entertaining. These 2 teams played 3 days ago when I'm filming this, filming it on the 11th. They played on the 8th. Putnam County won 73-69. So give me Putnam County winning a second time. They're scoring 58.2 points per game and allowing 56. Kirksville is being hosted by Canton. I feel like this is just a complete level switch. Canton's a really, really good basketball team this year, sitting at 17-5. But Kirksville, they're a Class 4 school. They're a lot bigger. They're 14-7 this year. They're kind of on a little bit of a slide. I think they can get back with a get right game against Canton on the road, though. Kirksville scoring 55.7 points per game and allowing 47.6. Give me the Tigers. The Class 3 scoreboard is on your screen as we start to get towards the end of the video here. Mid-Buchanan versus East Buchanan. Really, really big rivalry here. I'm going to take Mid-Buchanan at home. They're receiving votes in Class 3. They're scoring 68.9 points per game and allowing 56.8. Monroe City versus Palmyra. Close to being my Class 3 game of the week. Couldn't quite do it with Greenwood and Logan Rogersville. I spoiled it, but we'll talk about that in a second. The top two games here, Mid Buchanan, Monroe City. These two teams are hosting games tonight. Herman versus Washington, supposed to be tomorrow. Not certain if this game's going to happen. We're supposed to have some weather here in Missouri. Get some ice going on. So fun. We love that so much, huh? Everybody stay safe, please. Hopefully we don't get much more than a brushing. I haven't really looked at the forecast. I know it could potentially be bad. I'm not certain. I don't really care, though. I'm just going to let it happen because a lot of the time the Weather Channel's wrong. So whatever happens, happens. Just like I said, please stay safe. But supposedly Herman versus Washington tomorrow. Not certain if that's going to happen. Lexington and New Heights are both Valentine's Day. And then I skipped Greenwood and Logan Rogersville. That is on Thursday, as long as we don't have cancellations roll into the 13th. So Monroe City and Palmyra as we get back to me being on track. Got a little sidetracked there. That's my bad. I'll take Monroe City. They're receiving votes in Class 3. They're scoring 59.9 points per game, allowing 47.7. I really thought they were going to get it done against Bowling Green. Couldn't quite do it. Palmyra is a great team, but I think, I will take the home team Panthers rather than the away team Panthers. Herman versus Washington. If it happens, I think Herman will get it done. If we don't really get that much weather, I might go to this one. This should be a pretty fun game. Washington is a Class 5 school, so with Herman being Class 3, there is a big jump there. But Washington hasn't played like an absolutely insane schedule. Herman's 8th in Class 3, though. They're scoring 56.8 points per game, and they're only allowing 35.5. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Brunswick, just not with as high volume of scoring. Greenwood versus Logan Rogersville is our Class 3 game of the week. This is the first time I've gotten the opportunity to talk about Greenwood, and I'm sorry to say it, I'm taking them losing here. So Logan Rogersville is second in Class 4. They're playing really good basketball right now. I think they make a Final Four. I'm not certain if they will. They're scoring 60.5 points per game, allowing 37.9. Give me the Wildcats. Lexington versus Richmond. Lexington got the upset this past time. They have 3 wins against Richmond since 2009. So that third win came a few weeks ago. So they had 2 wins in, 15 years before the game a few weeks ago. I want Lexington to win. I'm rooting for Lexington. I really am. But I'm going to take Richmond because that matchup history just looks pretty gnarly. So give me the Spartans. Both of these two teams impressed me when I got to see them. I actually watched them back-to-back days. Lexington put on an absolute boat race on Knob Noster. Knob Noster's kind of iffy. They're not horrible. They're also not necessarily good. They're just like solid-ish, but couldn't compete with Lexington. I could tell you that much. Lexington is 9th in Class 3 currently, but I think the Spartans, they are receiving votes in Class 4. They beat Lafayette County pretty good that next day that I was talking about. They're scoring 65.5 points per game, allowing 46.6. So give me the Spartans here. New Heights versus McCauley Catholic. Haven't gotten to talk about McCauley Catholic. These two teams are from Joplin, so I don't necessarily know if it's a rivalry game, but, considering they're both private schools from the same town, I'm going to assume they're rivals. I will take McCauley Catholic on the road. I don't know if you can really say on the road. They're going across the town, I guess. 51.8 points per game for them. They're only allowing 39.3, so give me the Warriors. That's all you got for today. Thursday, you will see large school predictions. Tomorrow, if you're watching this on release date, Tuesday, you will see Slater versus New Franklin. Like I said, potential weather. Not certain if I'll be able to make it out to Herman versus Washington. And then I'm not too certain what I'm doing on Friday. That is to be determined. So that's all we got for today. This has been Missouri Sports Talk. See you next time.